Betut nemye nebo komut kasit tarik 4 arawetab 4 kenyitab 2025 nekakituiye tuwai eng tetutiet noton nebo Kass Mashinani ole kitobeni akobo logoiwek chetesetai eng komoswek cheterter chebo emet ole nomi tuwai eng betutab rani kwane Bernard Tanoi ara itagat kitaune county noton nebo Nakuru kebeberta noton nebo Naivasha ole kakomwa President William Ruto kole imuch kongemak kalyetab emet angot keboisie musoknotet nebo social media eng letaitab logoiwek chemanyolu kosubkei ak notok kocher President Ruto biikab emet koker kole kaistoegei boisiet neya noton nebo social media mising ko letaitab logoiwek chebo lembech anan ko chebo sasisiet. Kang'alali Ruto eng kebeberta noton nebo Naivasha eng tuiyetab aeng nebo Mashariki Cooperation Conference nekaituiyo ofisaek che echen chebo segeisiet kubun emotinwek chesirei 16.
Equally dangerous is the surge of misinformation and disinformation accelerated by expanding internet connectivity. False narratives, fabricated claims, and cynical distortions corrode truth, distort public trust and discourse, and erode democratic institutions. When weaponized, social media platforms become breeding grounds for hate, incitement, radicalization, and insecurity. In Kenya, we are responding with robust measures, upholding freedom of expression, promoting access to accurate information, expanding digital literacy, and institutionalizing transparency in public communication. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa's potential and promise are undeniable. We are a continent rich in natural resources, endowed with youthful population, and brimming with human capital. Our destiny lies in becoming a global green industrialization hub, beginning with climate leadership and energy transition. I want to ask all of you to make sure that the digital space, especially artificial intelligence, become part of our intelligence, inform, and we can leverage it as a tool that will enable us to be ahead of threats and risks that we face as countries, that we face as a region. And I am confident that technology, properly applied and understood, can help us solve the challenges that we face as a society today. I know that technology can also be used for other purposes, but it is your responsibility of governments, to make sure that we leverage on technology, not just to provide public services and public goods, but also leverage on technology to secure nations and to make sure that we harness stability, because without stability, it becomes very difficult for us to make progress and for there to be growth in our economies and for us to talk about any meaningful prosperity. And therefore, I want to urge all of you, as you take time to reflect on matters intelligence and how we can secure our nations better, and the use of information. And as I have said earlier, intelligence-led decision-making assists in ensuring that we have much more accurate interventions in all aspects of our nation building.
Kotakemite kebeberata bo Naivasha ko tesetai eng nguno tuyet neindochin Ministry nebo Tilyandit-ab emotinwek chebo sang kotinygei ak arorutiet netelelchin tilyandit nebo emotinwekab sang eng kwenutab Kenya ak emotinwek alak chebo sang noton nebo Foreign Policy Sessional Paper ole indochin tuyonoto Ministry noton nebo Tilyandit-ab emotinwek chebo sang neindochin Prime Cabinet Secretary Musa Musalia Mudavadi kongeipchi akobo ng'alaletab Musalia Mudavadi netesetai kokonu eng tuiyonoto tesetai eng Naivasha.
Objective. So let me try, Mr. Chairman, to just make some formal remarks, and then at the end, I'll just make some brief recaps. I am delighted to see you all today as we begin our deliberations on the sessional paper number 1 of 2025 on the foreign policy of the Republic of Kenya. This retreat provides a platform for the executive and legislative arms of the government to engage on the proposals in the sessional paper and the feedback received from the public to enable us make practical recommendations for shaping Kenya's foreign policy. The sessional paper, which was developed after the launch of the Kenya Foreign Policy 2024 in December last year, is a strategy document presented for parliamentary scrutiny and debate to allow for refinement of the policies it proposes before they are implemented. And I'll repeat that. It is a strategy document presented for parliamentary scrutiny and debate to allow for refinement of the policies it proposes before they are implemented. As a ministry, we have fully embraced the principles of public participation and even gone a notch higher to engage members of parliament who are the people's representatives. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate the National Assembly for further extending the arc of public participation by availing and subjecting the sessional paper to public scrutiny. You will note from the top page of the sessional paper a Kiswahili theme, Sera ya Kenya ya uhusiano wa nje na nchini hadi mashinani. The objective is to emphasize the new foreign policy approach that aims to involve our citizens right from the grassroots to the international sphere. This is the essence of our new policy direction, embodied in the expression Foreign and Diaspora Policy Mashinani, that solidifies the national ownership of our foreign policy even as we position Kenya internationally. The sessional paper provides a framework for policy development and implementation. It presents several requests for consideration by Parliament that are critical to the conduct of Kenya's foreign policy. This encompasses diaspora issues that are highlighted in the Kenya Foreign Policy 2024 and operationalized by the recently launched Kenya Diaspora Policy 2024. The Principal Secretaries for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs will speak to these issues in greater detail during the next session. The overarching request is for Parliament to consider, approve, and adopt the contents and recommendations of the sessional paper. At the core of these requests is the goal of promoting a holistic approach to financing our foreign policy implementation, maximize effective utilization of Kenya's assets abroad, and bolster the foreign service staff through improved terms of service and a structured process of professional recruitment and deployment. As the founding document of the sessional paper, the Kenya Foreign Policy 2024 provides a comprehensive framework for conducting the country's foreign relations and diplomatic engagement. It aims to promote and safeguard our national interests and enhance the country's global standing. Indeed, as the theme of the sessional paper suggests, this is a grand strategy for positioning our foreign policy in the ever-evolving global landscape. This is why you have noted that instead of dwelling so much on pillars we now have focus areas to reflect the adaptability of our foreign policy to the rapidly mutating global system. We have to be prepared for the emerging geopolitical transformation, which is creating serious challenges, including a new scramble for Africa and subsequent resurgence of the Cold War. The unfolding world order is that of multipolarity and unipolarity, unilateralism rather than multilateralism, protectionism rather than free trade, and growing indifference and transactional conduct rather than humanitarianism. The outcome is that states are largely taking to the realism world of viciously pursuing selfish interests and getting more inward looking. To continue adapting and successfully navigating this evolving global landscape, we have to be strategic and ambiguous in ring-fencing our interests and projecting Kenya's position on matters of geopolitical significance. In this regard, the sessional paper makes a bold assertion of the Kenya country position on strategic foreign policy issues, including a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict, Pacific resolution of the Ukraine-Russia crisis, and the One China policy. The objective is to authoritatively articulate, defend, and advance Kenya's national interests in the complex and ever-changing global arena. It will further advance Kenya's ability and resolve to deploy policy actions that protect and promote the interests and welfare of our citizens, wherever they are in the diaspora. Finally, we look forward to open and interactive discussions. This will enable us to deliver a final document that comprehensively addresses all perspectives of our national interests and Kenya's transformative journey in the emerging world order. And Mr. Chairman, your committee is so pivotal in this regard. So I've finished those formal statements, but first let me just thank Matthias, first of all for the support you have lent us or extended to us in terms of the process that has brought us to where we are, but also for being very candid. When he came to see me and we had a chat, I told him, look, what you're saying is so critical. It cannot be for my ears only. I think have an opportunity, and I'm happy you did that. In fact, you may have adjusted your departure to travel out of the country so that you can be with us to make your statement. I can indicate that I think I was also shocked into reality. And I'm sure my colleagues will appreciate that those were very thought-provoking comments. It's a serious wake-up call as we deliberate on these matters before us. On a lighter note, Conrad was working very closely with the ANC party when we were in the opposition. And we developed a very good working relationship. Now they are a party in government, and the majority of you, we have the Kenya Kwanza government. So they have to look at things now from a different prism. And that partnership that we had when we were both in opposition, I'm happy he's willing now to extend it because he's now wearing the shoe of government as well. As we move forward. A few things that we will hope for is that once the committee has put everything together, the final document, we definitely look forward to the robust debate in Parliament and the endorsement of this sessional paper so that we can now move forward with more clarity and avoid guesswork on critical matters of our foreign policy. So I'm really appealing to you to help us drive this. And remember, it is the sessional paper number 1 of 2025. So you and I, plus my team at the ministry, are in partnership to deliver sessional paper number 1 of 2025 to the Kenyan people. The sessional paper has been approved by Cabinet. The first position was that Cabinet approved the policy. After the conversation, then Cabinet approved the sessional paper. But it is clear that Cabinet was approving the sessional paper because they knew very well that Parliament is the pillar and the anchor, and parliamentary input on our foreign policy is going to be extremely critical, because this is a thing that we have not been pursuing aggressively. We want to change that course and make sure that Parliament is deep into the whole process of helping us direct our foreign policy. It will make it easier to deal with budgetary issues. It will make it easier to deal with very many other challenges that arise. In this policy, critical and sessional paper, Cabinet did approve that you now need to look at the foreign policy, as you have always advocated, the foreign aspect of it, pillar, if I may call it that way, as a security-related function. So Cabinet approved that position. And you as Parliament, you had always raised this as well. So this is an opportunity for us to put it on the table beyond any reasonable doubt that that is where it lies, and going into the future, that should be the way to look at it. We want you to help us unlock the potential of our international assets. Other countries are reaping very serious dividends from their international assets, while we are not doing the same. And in fact, in some instances, we have even run away from occupying our own assets because we have not been maintaining them. So this is an opportunity for the defense, for the committee to help us deal with that. We have issues to talk to, and I'm happy that defense team is also here. You raised a very fundamental question about peacekeeping and all that. This was one of the flagships of Kenya in the context of leadership on the continent. We have suffered a setback, and I think in the committee you will get the rankings. We are now about number 30-something in that realm globally in terms of peacekeeping. And countries, and there's no harm in mentioning this from a positive perspective, but countries like Rwanda have risen to become number 4 globally in terms of peacekeeping efforts, while Kenya has completely disappeared from the radar on this matter. So it is something that we need to interrogate quite effectively. We need to promote trade. We need to promote investment. it has been said, and nobody is blinking. The people in Washington are not blinking anymore. They are telling you openly that we are coming for this or that. So let us also come to the stark reality that we have to change our approach. We have to combat issues that are negative, corruption, money laundering, vices that undermine stabilities of nations. I think we need to pronounce ourselves very clearly on some of these things, so that as we move forward, we need to understand what kind of policies. Last night I came from Rwanda. I was representing the president, and the issue was the topic of the fourth revolution, basically artificial intelligence. Globally, what is it going to do? What is going to be the impact in our societies? And some of the big players made announcements that in Africa they want to have 5 centers that will be the key global hubs, the GPU hubs: South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, Egypt, and I think Nigeria. So Kenya is one of them, targeted to become a central nation in this new era around artificial intelligence and what it portends. So we need to prime ourselves and set ourselves into good stead. The war on tariffs is so clear. But even as we wake up every morning looking at what the Americans have said on tariffs, it also gives us an opportunity to say that what about in the continent? To what extent are we ourselves, even within our own continent, dealing with trade barriers, whether they are tariff or non-tariff barriers? These are issues that we may want to look at. On multilateralism, perhaps as I sit now, beginning to have less faith.
Natago Minister noton nebo tilyandit emotinwek chebo sang Musalia Mudavadi ne tesetai kokonu ng'alalenyi eng tuyet ne tesetai eng Naivasha kotinygei ak arorutiet ne teleljin tilyanditab Kenya ak emotinwek chebo sang nebo Foreign Policy Sessional Paper ne tesetai kochobei ak kosuldae Ministry noton nebo tilyanditab emotinwek chebo sang. Ko noton ko ng'alaletab Mudavadi ne imutech agoi kamung'et nenwach asiyekiwege ketestai ak tetutiet noton nebo Kass Mashinani.